back and forth, but the resident Cowboys fan, he not on tonight, so I don't think we're gonna be able to get into it. All right, fellas, let's get going, man. And get the podcast jumped off and welcome our esteemed special guest. Now, Tony, you go by Tony or is it Holly?
Man, people call me. It depends on
who it is.
Depend on the year that you met me.
Depend on the year. Okay. All right. So say I'm back in. What year was you? You came out of Northwestern.
I came out of Northwestern in 01.
01. Okay.
So if you play football with me, you call me Holly.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if we close, you probably call me Tony.
All right. Better known as the all-season champ. And
yeah.
And right now, where you in the league right now?
8. It ain't looking too good right now.
That's all right though, because from when you done parked a little bit of change this weekend, and in the running for some more.
Hey, look, this is I'm actually in 9th place.
Okay, yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only league that I have no chance of winning anything. I'm in 9 leagues. That's the only league.
Oh yeah, you did 9 leagues, man.
Yeah, no shot at winning anything in this league.
Let's see, who's your number one pickup in our league?
I think it was Kelsey.
Who was your first round?
Kelsey.
Yeah. Oh, you must have been down there with me and Jose towards the back end of the draft. Oh no, when did you draft, Jose? I know
I drafted early. I messed up the whole draft by picking up all the quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I think it was me and Gene was towards the back. We were like 13 and 14. So by the time I got to us, I was picking up offensive linemen, trying to get the put squad together. Let's see, Kelsey, he was still put up number one tight end production this year. Now he didn't do what he normally do, but part of that had to do with the fact that what's his name was off. His quarterback was off this year, and I had the luxury of having him.
Somebody picked up Mahomes. Mahomes was like the top 2, top 3 pick.
That was on Rodney. Rodney picked up Mahomes.
I had by the time I think it's my first round. If I remember correctly, my first round pick.
I thought someone went quarterback, like on the top 3.
No,
I did. That was me.
Oh, who you picked? Josh Allen?
I picked up Josh Allen, Dak, and Baker Mayfield.
Oh, Baker. Oh, yeah.
And I picked up Lance too.
Oh, you holding quarterback?
Yeah, that's what I do sometimes.
Hey, that's what I got. That's what I did. And got kicked out. Got kicked out of the league.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
You got kicked out of the league?
Yeah, because in the championship, he picked up 5 quarterbacks when the other person had Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins was had COVID, so he couldn't play. So the other person had no quarterbacks to pick up.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so like Kirk Cousins, he got ruled out. He got ruled out Friday. That he has COVID. He's out. So my opponent, this championship game, I think their backup quarterback was Justin Fields.
Yeah,
so Justin Fields. I think he was ruled out. Andy Dalton was going to start. So what I did was on Friday, I picked up Tua, and I picked up Taysom Hill. So then Saturday night came, I realized my opponent still didn't pick up a quarterback, and Trey Lance was there. So I picked up Trey Lance. So Sunday, next time Sunday come, I mean they didn't have a quarterback. I won the league. I won by 40 points. They would have picked up Trey Lance.
They would have won.
Yeah, they would have won.
So the whole message board was going.
Attention at all?
I couldn't tell you.
It's championship week. I went to look to the I seen all these messages pop up, right? I looked at the call to say, hey, great season, everyone. I see all this all this back and forth, going back and forth, like, hey man, that's grimy what you did.
Let me guess that those type of transactions was frowned upon in this establishment.
Yeah. Because I mean, I already had Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback. So I mean, I wasn't gonna start, Taysom Hill, Tua, Trey Lance over A-Rod. But I had to block my opponent. I had to block my opponent. Yeah, I had to block my opponent from getting a quarterback.
So go ahead, Jose.
I'm gonna say this because we had the same discussion before, right? If you had an opportunity to block somebody, or if you had an opportunity to make sure that the other person doesn't get it, is that bad sportsmanship? If money's on the line, if your job is everybody has an opportunity to get the same person or any person at any time because they got that fab money, so you can outbid somebody, right? So I look at this. I don't think it was wrong for what he did. Yeah, he was smart. He did what he did, got the persons. But I'm like, everybody has opportunity. Like everybody had a chance. You can outbid the person and all that. So I'm like, I don't think it was wrong. I would have did the same thing if I had the opportunity. But that's part of being an owner. It's all about money, man. It's championship week. My opponent, COVID. I lost 2 playoff games because of COVID injury. So I'm like, man, it's part of the game.
What you think, Rodney?
Oh, my bad. So of course, like Jose said, we had this discussion in the on the podcast a few weeks back, right? And it's interesting, right? It's always with the nice squad that start putting out the dirty tricks. And so the guy who's up right now, 600 points in the league, this man would pick up potential backup players before the weekend and drop them. So you couldn't. He would drop them with not enough time for them to clear waivers before the game started.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. And so man, dudes was hot. They was like, nah, man, he picking up backup that could potentially play and just dropping them. And so, man, it was like a whole big thing and we got this text thread. And man, like Jose said, you see all these messages coming. I'm like, damn, what's going on? and so that just went on for like a couple of days. And my first thought was that it was fair game. That was my first thought. I was like, you play to win a game, and if you got enough roster spots to, or you got enough space in your roster where you can, make those moves and drop people, whatever, then so be it. However, the crazy thing was that same weekend we was having the discussion, Yahoo had it on the Fantasy Football Now show. And the first thing they said, it was like, yeah, this is absolutely against the spirit of fantasy football, right? And they even popped it up. I don't know if the league that you did that in was Yahoo, but one of the rules is that you shouldn't make any transactions where you don't expressly intend to improve your roster or play the guys that you're picking up or whatever. It shouldn't try to impede others from picking up players. So with that being said, I went on the side of Yahoo in terms of whether that's should be legal or not. Oh, but the one thing I did say though is I told him, I was like, but you can't penalize him now because we did that in the past and everybody played by these rules, and as long as it worked for everybody, you were cool with it. So you can't punish him, mid-season, man, because now he way in the league and he basically kicking dirt on our face at this point. I was like, you gotta let it ride out. I said, and then next year you put whatever rules in place.
You adjust the rules next year.
Right.
I mean, because technically he's not breaking any rules.
Right.
I mean, it's
that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's a competitive advantage.
I'm like, everybody has an opportunity. Like, I'm like, everybody has an opportunity to get the person. You draft your team, you work them waiver wire. So like, that's just me. That's how my style is. Other people's styles has different styles. Like I was telling Tony, my style, I do a lot of movements. I'm the sleeper king for a reason. That's my name for a reason, right? Because I do all these waiver wire moves. So I felt like things were changed because I was the most consistent waiver wire movement throughout the whole season, every year in fantasy. So Fab came out, and then now we had a restriction this year where when you gotta put $5 for each person that you pick up to do any transaction, and then you can't pick up the person. Like if you're a person got hurt Sunday morning and they're doubtful or questionable, and then all of a sudden they go out, you have no opportunity to pick that player off the waiver wire because it shuts off on Sunday, which sucks because you got players that play Monday that you can pick up. Same situations like tonight. The person he's playing with had an opportunity to pick up Ben or Mayfield to have a quarterback, right? But they can't pick them up because of the restrictions.
So I'm still trying to figure out why he didn't pick up anybody. Like,
they didn't even put an offer on it.
How you are like? I can understand him saying, "Look, you left me with a bunch of trash on the free agent on the waiver wire." But how you go without a quarterback at all? That's
that's the crazy thing. I mean, and the thing is that the person, they haven't even said anything in the chat room. It's all been the commissioner and this this other owner. So I'm saying to myself, as a commissioner, if anything, I'm gonna be upset with the inactive owner who decided not to make any transactions.
To the competitive team, right?
The final.
Right. And I'm like, you just gave somebody the championship,
basically,
by not filling the quarterback.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean they had every opportunity, and then in Yahoo you could kind of see who bid on who bid on certain players if you didn't get that person, right? There was no bid from that person except for like on Thursday.
They picked up Rex Burkhead.
Yeah,
on Thursday, and that was it.
No
transactions for the rest of the week.
My issue,
he was sleeping at the wheel.
Listen, my issue with this whole thing, right, is I'm minding my business, and my name got called out with Zeke saying,
they be doing this?
Nah. The commission put me, Zeke, and Tony in there and said, yeah, y'all are outstanding. I want to know what that means. Cause like for me, I'm always
not getting invited back. That's what that means. That's what he's telling y'all.
Oh, man. I'm over look. I didn't even say nothing. I got kicked out.
Got kicked out by affiliation.
I'm like, man, think that is it that we're shiesty or something? Or you're saying that? Man.
What type of cable you and Zeke got going on over there? Y'all adding and dropping dudes too?
No, we do a lot of transactions, but this year, right? Zeke and I was both on the bottom. We was 12 and 11, right? And I'm trying to make moves. I already messed up by spending all my money, so I didn't know I could. I can't pick up nobody.
Hey, look. So is this the joint that you supposed to pay $5?
Yeah. So I ran out of money. So I couldn't pick up nobody. Right? Yeah.
I think the budget. I think the budget was like 500. You spent like 300 on Eli Mitchell.
I did.
knowing he make like 10 transactions every week.
Right. He did the same. He did the same thing in our joint. Who you pick up that blow your budget on?
Elijah Mitchell.
Oh my goodness.
So with Zeke, right? So I made these trade offers with everybody, right? And I ain't getting no bite, right? And then the one that was made, it wasn't even approved. It was approved on game day when I was about to take it off. But I'm like, who's gonna approve it on? I had it there for like 5 days, so I'm like, man, dude don't really want it, so I was gonna reject it. It got accepted after the game, after he outperformed the guy that I put there was outperformed, and he took it. Mm-hmm. Then later on, I traded with Zeke. I traded 7 players for 4. And maybe that looks like it's a cahoots or whatever, but I gave him quality players, and we both was 11 and 12. I got my team all the way up to I think 4th in the league. But we're outstanding. I just don't get that. I don't get the call out. I was over here in my own corner.
Hey, Tony, the commissioner been holding that on Zeke and Jose. He been waiting to say something. He just used your moment to go and put that in there. So, while I'm at it, let me go and point out Zeke, the collusion that was going on between Zeke and Jose.
Oh man,
we're gonna fix all this. Oh man, so look, man, let's get into some of these standout performances from the weekend, man. So folks who might have won your league for you, if you happen to be playing for a chip,
embarrassed you,
or embarrassed you. Right off the break, man. Once again, we talked about Cincinnati basically winning the. If you had Cincinnati football team the week before, you'd have won the Millie Maker and DraftKings. I think it was if you had Burrows, Chase. Higgins and Mixon in week 16, you was in good standing. But once again, this week 17, Burrow goes off for 446 yards, 4 TDs, and most of which went to Chase. Man, so Burrow had in half PPR. Burrow had 34.84 points. Jamar Chase gave you a 50 burger. So if you had him on your roster and he ain't put you in a position to win, I don't know what type of roster you fielded. He ended up with 11 receptions on 12 targets, 266 yards receiving, and 3 touchdowns. So that was one for the record books. That's for sure. He had been up until the last couple of weeks. He had kind of cooled off from his high start early. Let's see. Russell Wilson showed up this week. If you happen to, unfortunately, considering the AJ's awesome team had him, he showed up this week and gave you 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, but threw it to the wrong person.
And 24 yards rushing. Yeah, I'm looking. So he had a nice day, but this week it went to Metcalf. Had 3 to 4 touchdowns.
Because you got Lockett, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I got Lockett. I need
that's
him.
That's the only thing about Seattle. You picking, you guessing which wide receiver is going to go off.
Right.
And looking, if you had Metcalf the previous probably like 5 or 6 weeks, you ain't want no parts of him. But this week, if you happen to play him, who else? Another surprise performance from my main man, Amon-Ra St. Brown, from Detroit.
Yep.
Had 8 receptions on 10 targets with 111 yards and 1 TD. Gave you 31 and a half points on the weekend. Let's see who else. So Chase, Brown, Metcalf. Those are all 3 surprise performances. Devontae Adams, he still continue to do his thing with 136 and 1 TD. Oh, Braxton Berrios. He's number 5 on the weekend right now.
On my bench.
Didn't help Jose much. Had 8 receptions on 12 targets, 65 yards with a TD. Even threw in 12 yards rushing.
Oh, I wish Terrence was on here because I want to ask him, would this be considered a sleeper?
No, was the Berrios one of the ones that he was on the list this week?
Yeah, he gave me 27 points. He had 1 rushing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown. And
right. Nah, I definitely look at who is we got Christian Wilkinson from New England had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, the practice squad guy.
On 4 receptions, 42 yards. I don't know who might have had him. Even Jacoby Myers scored this weekend, so they
I had Jacoby.
New England had a nice weekend. Yeah, for Jacoby Myers scored a touchdown. Good grace.
That had to be his second touchdown on the year.
It might be a second touchdown in his career because he scored his first.
The second one. Yeah, second one. Because I had him all year on my team.
Who else? Another surprise performance from you had a few surprise performances from receiver.
You forgot Rashad Penny.
I know Rashad Penny went off.
Yeah, he actually number one running back. I haven't gotten to the RBs yet, but we can go ahead and jump in there. Let me let's see. So speaking about duds for the week, we'll get into Antonio Brown situation in a little bit, but Sal Grayson Jr. Anybody heard of him? 6 receptions, 81 yards, 1 TD for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he's the guy to replace Antonio Brown. So
if you happen to have him on your played him this weekend, he paid dividends. Hunter Renfrow had 7 receptions for 76 yards and 1 TD as well. So you got these are. Let me see how many players that are wide receiver 3 or worse. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. I say Burrows now. He's definitely worked his way up into wide receiver, knowing 2 wide receiver 3 conversation. But at least
Burrows.
Oh yeah. But Wilkerson, Myers, Grayson, those are 3 that you definitely didn't see coming this weekend. On the running back side, like Tony mentioned, we had Rashad Penny got busy with 170 yards. Good gracious, 2 TDs, and plus had 2 receptions on 3 targets for 15 yards. Darrell Williams, which I figured he would have a decent game. I'm not sure. I'm definitely not on the Chiefs staff, but I think the Chiefs. I think Darrell Williams actually looks better than
CH.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He had 80 yards, 2 TDs, and 3 for 19 receiving. You got Devin Singletary had 110 yards rushing, 2 TDs. They basically just ran all over.
We talked about that because of snow.
Right. So we figured the offense would be, being for a nice day considering, considering conditions.
Dude, Josh Allen and Dak, it's been a rough season with them 2.
Josh, he so he gave 3 interceptions, but he did have 81 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground for Josh Allen. Man had Ramondre Stevenson, who's right now number 4 on the weekend and for RBs, and he had 107 yards, 2 TDs, and I had him sitting right on my bench. But I had to choose between him and Jared Patterson because my other running back was.
He went off.
Yeah, not as much as Ramondre though.
97 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see. Who else got big this weekend? I figured Philly's running backs would have a decent day against Washington, unfortunately, where Boston Scott ended up with he only had 47 yards rushing, but he had 2 TDs and 39 yards receiving.
I don't know if it was you or Terrence called them out.
I mentioned them because I just had a feeling that against Washington that he was going to have a decent one of the 3 was going to have a decent day, and he had had been scoring. Dave Montgomery, had 2 touchdowns. After number 4, after the 4th running back for the week, everybody else pretty much didn't put a lot up as from a yardage standpoint, but scored a lot of TDs. Boston Scott had 2. A.J. Dillon had 2 touchdowns. Dave Montgomery had 2 touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell, he put up 100. I was about to say
you can call Elijah.
He's number 8 right now and had PPR amongst running backs. But he had 119 yards rushing and had the 1 receiving touchdown. Deontay Foreman, I had him in another league, which don't matter anymore. I'm so far behind, but Deontay Foreman, he had 132 and a touchdown. And my main man, Austin Eckler, 58 yards with a touchdown. run and 54 yards receiving. So let's see, man. Tight end this weekend was slim pickings. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 5 tight ends right now that's in double digits.
Foster Monroe.
That's Noah Fant had 18. Rob Gronk had 15. Oh, Andrews had 11.9, right under almost 12 points. Kelsey had 10.9, and Dallas Goedert has 10 points. Everybody else is under 10. Nobody else is in double digits at this point in time. And it doesn't look like anybody's in from Cleveland or Pittsburgh is even close to getting it. What's five we got right now? I wonder. We got a couple catches. Five we got a few catches. And Donovan Peoples-Jones has 1 so far. I think Fry
tight ends haven't been really going off this year like that.
Nah, their points haven't been doing that well.
I mean, yeah, Andrews go off the last
4 weeks? Oh, yeah. I thought it was 4.
Then before Andrews, it was Kittles.
Kittles, man, he single-handedly got me back in contention for second place in my one league, and as soon as he fell off, my team fell apart.
That's how players like Kittles. He can win you one week.
Yep.
Lose you the next. Tyreek Hill, he'll win you. Yeah. Tyreek Hill, he'll win you maybe like 3 or 4 weeks by himself.
Yep.
He's been a bit more consistent this year, but I know the last 2 weeks he killed my my lineups, daily fantasy, and my and season long.
So let me see. From a quarterback perspective, you got the usual suspects. After Russell Wilson, we had Tom Brady with 3 TDs and 1 interception. We talked about Allen. Dak had 3 touchdowns and 20 yards rushing. Then Kyler Murray is number 6 right now with 263 passing and 2 touchdowns. He had 44 yards on the ground. My main man Matt Jones had 3 touchdown passes. Mahomes ended up with right at about 21 points with 259 and 2 TDs. And Rodgers had 2 touchdowns. Rounding out the top 10 is your guy, Jose Trey Lance.
Trey Lance, yep.
Who happened to be he's sitting on Tony's bench, just percolating while my man suffering with no quarterback.
I wonder if what's the name started him? If Gene started him,
he had to. I would hope. I would think because I don't think he had anybody else. Who was his other quarterback?
I think Garoppolo. I think he might start the captain.
Let me see who Gene had at quarterback. I can't imagine he had a better option. Look, especially considering he picked him back up after blowing his whole budget on him. And like in our other league, Gene had a monster today. Let me see who.
Shoot, I got blown out by Tom Brady and Chase.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you didn't want to play anybody that had Chase on their roster.
Yo, I looked up. I seen 313 points to my 204. I mean, my bad, 164.
Let's see. Yeah, no, he started Trey Lance and the pocket joint. Ain't helping much. I think he didn't have anybody. He didn't have anybody else to play.
Chris won this week, right? Mayhem.
Did he? I think right now he's in the league. As of right now, depending on who. Anybody got any Pittsburgh players playing or Cleveland running backs that might be in contention? Man,
in my other league, I got
look at Gene's team. Man, he's struggling. Yeah, Trey Lance, Stephon Diggs, who once again gave me a donut, basically a donut. He had Jacoby Myers, who actually had a decent game, but he had Barkley, Tony Pollard, Tyler Conklin, and CD Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb is like Tariq. I think he can go off a couple. He can win you a couple games.
No, I don't think CeeDee Lamb winning you a week like Tyreek is. I remember Tyreek. I think it wasn't this year, but last year. Dude had like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns before halftime.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. And it was against the Buccaneers.
I remember that.
You were looking at some of the games, like, come on, y'all ain't gonna try. Like, I mean, what's going on? Like, how do y'all keep letting this dude just find open space?
Yeah,
in between y'all.
That's how I was saying about Chase. I was like, man, how you get him 180, 266? I'm like, really? I said, what happened to Higgins? Higgins had what? 4 catches for 62 yards.
Man. So Tony, let me ask you, what's your? You said you win. You said 19 leagues.
9.
When you, how many?
9.
9. What's your thought process in terms of managing that many rosters? At the most, I think I used to play at one point in time. I would play maybe 5 or 6. What's your thought process when managing that many teams? Throughout the season, or even from a draft perspective, and do you because I've got to imagine some of your drafts may overlap. Either occur on the same day or at least close to each other.
I had actually there was 2 drafts this year that were like within an hour apart.
Okay.
So I'm drafting on my phone. Yeah, I'm drafting on my phone on one league, draft on the laptop, the next league. But other than that, I mean, they all were different days, different times, except for those 2. But I mean, pretty much just got a core of players that I target and that I target, pre-draft. And like most of the guys, I got like Austin Eckler on my team. I got Tyreek Hill on my team. I got Deontay Johnson on most of my teams. Either I got like Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson on my teams. So I just target a couple players. I'm a huge believer, and wide receivers, draft wide receivers first in most of the leagues because they got the higher upside. You can always find like a solid running back. But I mean, even managing the leagues haven't been that difficult. I will say I've never been in 9 leagues before. This is my first year in 9 leagues, so like following up on the waiver wires. I mean, that's been the biggest obstacle because there's no way I can check. I can't be the sleeper king. Find all the gems.
Right. You basically covering injuries.
Yeah,
and
basically
COVID situations.
Right. So honestly, what I try to do is you get a lot of injury news may come out like Friday night. Like Friday, you get the injury news on Friday. If a player practiced that Friday or not, Saturday, more news come out, and I usually pick up players then, as opposed to this year I picked up more players, Friday, Saturday, as opposed to like trying to get them on waiver because I couldn't compete. I couldn't compete with Well, not it was just too much trying to find guys on the waivers,
right?
Submitting waiver claims for 9 leagues. So I pretty much assess my roster on Thursday, Friday, and pick up guys from there.
All right, and so I know one of the reasons why I did the format for this league, I figured it'd be different from most leagues in terms of do like a head-to-head type of format. Out of the 9, how many were total points and how many were head-to-head leagues?
They all were head-to-head.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right, so that's cool. So now, so that kind of proved my point. I figured most people were doing head-to-head, and so I just wanted to give it something a little different. And I think I'm talking to a few folks, and we may change it up. Going for next year. I want folks, to have fun and if we change up next year, that would be cool too. Yeah. But man, I can only imagine looking at the waiver wire at 19, it's like, dang, all right. I basically just if I don't have any injuries, then that team don't get looked at unless I know it's somebody in particular like who's Cook's backup.
Madison.
Like if Cook is out for the week, then I may try. Probably like I try to grab him.
Right, basically, yeah.
So, hey, okay, go ahead, Jose. I'll be right back.
All right. So Tony, so when you going into when you went to pick up Jalen Hurts, right? What made you think that he was going to do? Like, did you have an insight that he was going to do what he did this year?
No. So I mean, when it comes to quarterbacks, I'm looking for quarterbacks that can run the ball. So in most of these fantasy leagues, quarterbacks they may get like 4 points for a passing touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
However, you get 6 points for a rushing touchdown.
Right.
So I'm looking for quarterbacks that have that run option. So that's why I'm drafting Lamar Jackson, drafting Jalen Hurts. I'll even draft. I wasn't able to draft Josh Allen at all, but if he was available, I would certainly draft Josh Allen as well.
So you like the dual threat better? Yeah, I agree with you on that one because you get more points on the rushing touchdown than you would on passing for most leagues.
Yeah, and not only that, so you get a player like Lamar Jackson. Some of these leagues, you get a bonus, a 300 yard passing yard bonus. You may get a 100-yard rushing bonus. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he can give you, he might not do it consistently, but he can give you the 300-yard passing bonus plus the 100-yard rushing bonus. So yeah, you just have a higher ceiling if you draft in, dual threat quarterbacks, unless you have a quarterback like, let's say, quarterback maybe like Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes. It looks like Barrow now that any given Sunday he can throw for like 450 yards and like four touchdowns. Yeah. So it's either you're gonna be a dual threat quarterback, or you're the type of quarterback that you can throw for 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Right.
Yards. Yeah.
Yeah. So I look at consistency. So I like Lamar Jackson, but I would never draft him or Jalen Hurts. The reason why, even though I do like the dual threat, it's just I could never. For me, I don't know when they're going to be up and when they're going to be down.
Yeah.
And plus, they get hurt a lot, So I try to look for quarterbacks that are consistent, that's played in consistency for years, and also get that little element of run. So like a Mahomes, sometimes he gives you those rushing elements. Josh Allen this year, I went different and I drafted Josh Allen and Dak because they do a lot more passing with a small taste of running, So I was focused on this year, changing my whole format and going after quarterbacks that can actually throw a lot and then give you a small dosage of running games, sometimes touchdowns. So this year I did a whole way different than I did before. Normally I get Mahomes. Normally I get like Rodgers. I get them early. But this year I went different. I went with the dual threat quarterbacks. And I got to say this year it was a little disappointing. But when they went off, they went off. You know, I had Josh Allen. He led in one of the leagues that we're in. He led in points, but it wasn't consistent.
Mm-hmm.
There's some days I had 0.4, because he threw 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Same thing with Dak, right? Dak would have his up and downs, and it was so frustrating, So going into next year, I got to figure out exactly like what I'm looking for. But
you also got to factor in like a quarterback like Josh Allen, like their draft position. So I'm able to get Jalen Hurts in the like 6th round, 7th round.
Right.
So I'm able to build like a solid team around him where I'm not solely relying on him to get, go off every single week. So like Josh Allen, you drafted him, within the first 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. So with a draft pick that high, I mean, if he doesn't go off, you pretty much you setting your team, back. So that was the benefit of having like Jalen Hurts. So most of my teams, Lamar Jackson was the number 1 quarterback I drafted. I think out of the 9 leagues I'm in, I have Lamar Jackson on 5, maybe 6. I have Lamar
Did you
Jackson.
bench him at any time?
Yeah. So actually, Jalen Hurts was my backup. So these weeks that Lamar Jackson been injured,
all right, you just swap him out.
Yeah, I put in Jalen Hurts. I think one league I didn't have a backup, so instead of putting, I didn't have a backup, so I've been using Huntley. I put in Huntley. I put in Josh Johnson. So I was able to,
You was able to get both of them?
No, so like that week that Lamar Jackson was out.
Yeah.
I mean, Huntley, not too many people, had Huntley was pretty much available in most leagues.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't no problem for me to pick up Huntley. And when Huntley caught COVID, I picked up Josh Johnson. So.
And you really thought that he was going? I mean, I'm just talking about for the people out there, because I kind of know that because Josh Johnson threw for 300 yards over there in Jets.
Yeah.
So, and he did it before, last year. So you kind of knew that he can come in and step right in and do the same thing.
Dude, the one thing about the Ravens, the Ravens offensive coordinator is the dude will cater the game plan according to that quarterback, strengths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, you can, as great as Lamar Jackson is, dude, you see how well Huntley has played. You see how well Josh Johnson played. Josh Johnson, they picked him up off the street, like a few days off the street. And he did pretty well under those circumstances.
Even what's the name? What's that other quarterback from Penn State?
The guy from Penn State. I know you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, but he did well when he came in.
Yeah,
you're right about that.
Yeah.
One thing I'd look for when I'm picking my team, I'm also looking at players and schemes, the coaches' schemes. So a lot of times y'all would joke before y'all started getting, people started hopping on to San Francisco, right? I was picking players from San Francisco. Y'all be like, man, why y'all picking, why you picking him and stuff like that? But I was going from what the scheme and what I knew about that team because I watched that team and I know the coaches. I know wherever that coach went, like, prime example, was it Scarcia? Who's the head coach for Cleveland?
I know you're talking about. I have no idea what his name is.
I forgot his name, but he came from Minnesota.
Stefanski,
right? He came from Minnesota, so you kind of knew he's going to be able to run the ball like he did with Cook because he was the offensive coordinator.
Right.
So I knew about Chubb and Hunt, and then when I seen Hunt, they had Hunt. I was like, okay, I already know that scheme. That scheme is gonna run the ball well, right? I don't know about the receivers, but I would pick the running backs off of them, because of their scheme. So when you're drafting or when you're picking up players, do you have that? Do you think you take that in effect when you're picking players, or you just go from stats?
No, so I'm looking at. So for me, like volume is the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if I'm drafting a wide receiver, I want wide receivers that, they getting double-digit targets, each game, anywhere between, 9 to, maybe 13, 14 targets each game. So that's what I'm looking at for a wide receiver. For a running back, I mean, volume is king. I want, if you can give me 25 to 30 touches, then.
But what if you picked up? What if you picked up Ingram? What if you picked up Mark Ingram, right? When he was in the Texans and he had all that volume, he wasn't getting no yards.
But you also have to consider what Mark. I didn't draft Mark Ingram, but
I know. But like, let's say you picking players, right? You're looking for volume, right? What about who's a receiver that get like all these targets but don't really get that many catches? Oh man.
I mean, you had Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, he gets
Hunter Renfrow. He would get like eight. He might get 8 catches. 60 yards.
Right.
I really, he doesn't really have that ceiling that you want. He has a high floor, but he also has a low ceiling. But I mean, those type of guys are good for your lineup because they're going to give you that consistency like throughout the year. It's not like they're not the boom or bust type of player. I mean, I do.
And when he catches, he'll produce. But he like the targets like Waller. Waller get tons of target.
See, but so a good example is the dude from Pittsburgh, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah,
the dude gets 14. He's averaging 12, 14 targets a game. Again, he's not going to get you numbers like Tyreek Hill, but you're also not drafting him in the first or second round.
Right.
You get Deontay Johnson, he may fall in the 4th round. If you're fortunate, he may fall in the 5th round. Not too many people know, he's not that popular, so a lot of people not drafting him off the break. But so like if I'm drafting guys like Tyreek Hill, like those high ceiling guys, I also need some like consistency at the other wide receiver spots. You can't
try to keep it balanced.
Yeah, you can't draft all like boom or bust
right.
guys. Yeah, so I need that consistency, and the only way to get that consistency is drafting players that has the opportunity and give you that volume. Now, I know like one of your strategies with the running backs, you like to draft the pass catching running backs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is smart because like look, that's especially in these PPR leagues, full point PPR leagues.
Yeah.
Five catches for, let's say 30 yards. That's 8 points right there.
Yeah, I use the same method on volume. Like I look at pass catching volume as well as rushing attempts. So if you get like 10 rushing attempts, but 12 targets, to me, I'm like, okay, I like that because you get the nice little running attack, but you could also get out in the open, which could be a major payday if they go off. Like I pick up, like I like the Ecklers. I like the backs that can run and catch.
Dude, I think you mentioned I think you told me about this strategy last year. And that's one of the reasons why I have like Eckler on. I think he's on maybe like 4 teams that I have, because that's the perfect running back that he can give you 50 catches in a season, give you of course over 1,000 yards rushing. He's gonna give you like double-digit touchdowns. He's so involved, with that team. That's a perfect type of running back.
Sometimes I get scared of those running backs because they get hurt a lot, right? So and then everybody, and they're like brand names, so everybody knew about Eckler, right? So I try to go for running backs that people don't really know about, like Michael Carter, Elijah Mitchell, people that I see like Mostert, right? People start picking up Mostert, but you prime example know that I was picking up Mostert for a while, but you have to have. So I will always pick up one consistent running back and then one potential running back to keep that balance on my roster.
Right.
And I look at the schemes, especially for like Mostert in San Fran. I already know if he plays, he's going to do well. I know that any running back that's in San Francisco is going to do well. I just got to figure out.
Except for Trey Sermon.
Except for Trey Sermon. Yep.
A lot of people was on Sermon.
Zeke picked up Sermon. I told Zeke, hey, don't draft Sermon. You gotta draft Elijah Mitchell.
A lot of people was on Sermon.
Yep.
And he never got out the doghouse.
But
I see Rod Talking about Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, he's someone I picked up because of his consistency, like of volume. He gets most of the volume, but he just don't get touchdowns. He don't get big splashy numbers.
Yeah, but like a team like when you talk about scheme.
Yeah, I don't pick
a team like New England.
Yeah,
like it's difficult drafting like running backs from New England because it's a committee.
Yeah,
and you just never know, who's going to have the hot hand that day. I mean, that was, that's rough. So I don't know. I try to stay away. I did in one league. I have Damian Harrison, but I picked him up because I was going with the zero running back approach. Just draft all wide receivers, quarterback like the first like 4 or 5 rounds.
And how'd you perform with that? How's that strategy for you?
So that league, I made it to the semifinals and lost. I mean, like, honestly, most of the leagues I'm in, the first I'll take one running back in the first maybe like 4 to 5 rounds. Just one running back. The rest is all wide receivers, and I'll give me a quarterback.
So that's basically your strategy throughout the years, or you just had that for this year?
No. I mean, for the last couple of years, but it also depends on, where I'm at as far as like the draft position. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with my luck, but it seems like I'm always at the end of the draft, at the end of the first round.
Hey, but for the last couple of years, man, you've been on top on your playoffs, man, making the playoffs and winning some of the championships. I mean, you won. I mean, you can call out how many times you won championships. I know this year in the league that I'm in with you, I already know you won 2 of them. And your team wasn't really that tight. That's my honest opinion. It was my honest opinion.
I'm telling you, I mean, you're not the only person to say that. There's one league I'm in right now, another league that I'm in. I mean, if you're looking at, I was consistently, hovering around like between the 6th and the 4th team.
Yeah.
Like throughout the year. But, playoff time come, then you start putting that focus on the waiver wire.
Right.
So, like, Justin Jackson, Austin Eckler can't play. I'm picking up Justin Jackson.
Right.
And so, like, that's, dude. Even with me, since I played so much daily fantasy, I think that has given me an advantage because I'm, consistently listening to like different podcasts, consistently going through my fantasy football like Twitter list that I created. So I'm seeing and hearing like, who's the next man up, who might be the, like the streaming running back or the streaming, wide receiver or, tight end to use. So yeah, I mean, you might look at my draft, you might look at my team at the end of the draft, be like, yeah, I'm not impressed. Well, best believe you see me in the finals.
This year, I thought you had a good draft. It's during the season is when reality hits and some of these players don't play to their draft status.
Yeah.
But then you make your moves and stuff, and then all of a sudden your lineup start looking now a lot more better.
Yeah, I mean, like you get a guy like your boy Eli Mitchell.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere, Eli Mitchell, you pick him up, he's certified, RB1. As soon as he got the opportunity.
Right.
Yeah. I think I was fortunate enough. I think in 2 of my leagues, I was fortunate to get him. So it honestly, as tough as it's been, you just gotta, pretty much keep up with the news, keep up with the player movements, injuries, COVID.
I have on my phone, I have a Bleach Report, right? And I have all the league's news page. So I'm listening to all their news from their reporters. And a lot of times those reporters are giving me good insight because I'm listening to what they see and what they pick and who's who's looking good to them and so forth. But the years of going, the years that we've been playing fantasy football together, man, you notice me change my strategy time and time again where it comes up to draft part. Sometimes I draft 2 tight ends. One year I went with 2 tight ends on my lineup. Another year I went with 3 running backs. Another year I went with 3 receivers. And 1 running back and 1 receiver running back, split running back. So I'm trying to figure out my style on draft. During the season is basically my game. Like me doing the waiver moves, that's my strategy. I can't I win games, I win seasons, or I catch up because of my picking those sleeper guys. But my draft strategy, I got to work on, man. I got to work on next year.
Dude, Jose, I think you be the perfect person. I don't know if you still play DraftKings or not.
Yeah, I do.
But you're the type of guy you need to play the $1 million contest. You might create 3 teams, 3 to 5 teams a week, because your mind is so contrarian. It's perfect to take down a contest like that.
That sounds about right, Tony. Hey, Tony, I got a question. I heard y'all talking about the playoffs or whatever, and strategy going to that. How do you manage? Like one of the things I noticed in most head-to-head formats, leagues, is that the team that's been killing all year, they usually end up with a bye week, and then the next round they play and get bounced.
Yeah,
right.
That was me.
How do you manage to avoid that that randomness, or do you normally not killing? You normally not in that number 1 position, so normally.
No, so I only in 1 league I finished first. I pretty much was like the number 1 seed throughout the year. So all of the other leagues, as I was telling Jose, I'm either I'm middle of the pack. I'm either like 4th, 5th, I'm 6th. 1 league I finished. Yeah, I was number 1 in 1 league. That's the one I'm hoping or praying Deontay Johnson give me 6 more points.
Oh, that's the one that you was number 1 in.
Yeah, that's the one I was number 1 in.
If history is any indication, you get ready to go home.
The good thing is, I mean, this is a big dollar league, so
okay.
2nd place. Okay, I'm okay with 2nd place winners. Yeah,
it's still a winner no matter what.
Basically.
So look, right. That's the other thing, is that the league I told you, my man, he like 600 points ahead of everybody. So every year it's always a big discussion, because I think we did $200 a piece this year, so it's a pretty big money thing. I think it's maybe 12 teams in it.
Yeah,
and so every year it's a question about is it winner take all? Are we doing the 2nd and 3rd place? So this is the first year that reluctantly they decided to do a 2nd and 3rd place. Right? Normally, first place take all the money. Right? Nobody get anything. I think last year they might have said 2nd place to get their money back. But this year they finally decided to do it, right? And now, man, you should see the intensity that man was playing with to try to get 2nd place. It is a battle. Man,
dude, I mean, that's the benefit of not having a winner take all, because I feel like with a winner take all, you might have a team that they realize after the 5th week they have no chance.
Right.
So they pretty much was like, all right, that's it. They throw up their hands. But I like the leagues where like each week you can get cash for like the highest points for that week.
Right.
Yeah. So like a few leagues I'm in, for the most points you may get like $25. The winner gets $25 for the week, $40 for the week, whatever the case may be, X amount of money for the most points that week. that keeps everyone, like motivated and active throughout the season, regardless of your record. Because at any given time, you can recoup, at least, small percentage of your money.
Right. So look, man, let's
You know what? I don't even pay attention to that, man. I gotta start paying attention to that. I know about it, but I don't focus on it.
Well, on getting the most points?
Yeah, during the week. Because I'll be just like, all I be thinking about is just during the week is beating that next person. So I don't care if it's by 20 points or by 30 points. All I'm thinking about is just beating. But if I was thinking about that, I would set my lineup to make the most points. I set my lineup just to beat him, and I don't think too much about it.
Yeah.
So I gotta change my strategy now on that.
Well, I mean, it all depends on the league too. Because some leagues, I mean, it doesn't even matter if you get the most points. You're not getting any money for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The most like in the one league I am in this head to head. It's also salary cap. It's also individual defensive players. So it's a lot going on, man. Like whenever I get to high school, it's bad. I'm surprised. Like they're like, you get the high score for the week. I'm like, for real? I'm just glad my roster was in compliance.
Right.
Matter of fact, let me ask this question to both of y'all. Right. So, what roster format do you like the best? I think we had a discussion like this before, Tony. So there's certain formats or certain roster formats that you have where you have 2 quarterbacks like our league, or you have three receivers and 2 flex, or 3 receivers and 1 flex, or 2 receivers and 2 running backs, defensive player, no kicker. I mean, what is your best format that you like? And go.
So I like.
Which one you think is the funnest?
Yeah.
So I like no defense, no kickers, no individual defensive players. You just cancel all those positions out, and you go with single quarterback, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and you may have like 2 flex positions. I'm all about incorporating.
On the flex, are they super flex or are they just regular?
No, just regular. Wide receiver, running back with tight end.
Okay.
So Ronnie, I forgot to tell you too that this podcast right here is all 3 wide receivers.
Oh,
so
really? Okay.
If you notice, he did all offense.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean that's where the fun is at. I mean the fun is in putting up touchdowns and putting up the numbers. I mean, the thing
I thought about experiment with not doing a kicker this year, but I thought that might be too extreme for some folks.
No, I mean the thing I don't like about kickers is kickers and defense. It's just so random. I mean, late in the season, like you have I think the was it the Miami Dolphins? They had like a good run where they was playing like bad quarterbacks. So of course, you can rely on those defenses like generating a lot of points. But especially in the beginning of the year, I mean, for the most points, it's just so random.
You don't know what defense is going to show up.
Basically,
I mean, unless you pick up like the Patriots who played who played Dolphins twice, Jets twice.
Back in the day when you had like the Ravens, you can count on as being a consistent weekend and dominating defense.
Yeah. But that's why and kickers, I mean, they're just as bad. I mean, you might have like 3 consistent kickers, but for the most part, dude, it's just so random. Like what's it do for Denver Broncos? I think last week he just hit. Past Sunday he hit like a 60-yard field goal.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about too.
Yeah,
McDaniel. No,
not Prater. Not Prater. It was
McManus.
McManus. Yeah, the dude just hit like a 61-yard field goal. Then turn around and hit, like a 40-yard field goal right there. That's probably 10 points at the minimum. But I mean, you really can't predict. You can't project that type of points. So plus, kickers really don't matter. It's nothing fun about
it. there's a lady. She I seen on one of the fantasy football shows, and I can't think of her name now. I have to look it up. But she basically has made carved out her niche in fantasy, right? Like got a name as far as like Twitter follow and all that. Her claim to fame is that she believes that you can predict and handicap kickers, right? That's her whole thing in turn. Yeah, and it's almost look, and it's almost. I think her tag her name is something like has like random in it, like the word random in it, or something, or eliminate the randomness or something like that. I forget what it's exactly, but she makes her whole fantasy claim to fame is being able to predict what kicker you should stream this week in and week out.
That's good niche. So what's your good roster lineup that you like, Rodney?
Man, I don't. All right, let me say this first and foremost: individual defensive players. It's too much work. It's a lot, and I can see maybe like if you wanted to add. I see the point of it in that basically, without playing defensive players or having defensive special teams, you basically are eliminating a whole half or 2/3 of the entire game out of fantasy, right? Like you ignore that means you're ignoring everybody on defense, everybody on and on special teams for the most part, unless you add in returns for the offensive players. So I can understand, but I wouldn't do all individual players like where you got D linemen, linebackers, DBs. I would do it to where you could do an individual defensive player, like one player, maybe pick one player versus an entire defense or special teams. And then my big thing is if you have a league, a 10 or 12 team league, and I'm a big proponent of the super flex. I don't like the idea of basically 20 QB starting QB sitting on the bench and not playing at all, or having no chance of playing unless there is an injury within the to one of the top 10 or 12 QBs, right? So you have somebody that's scoring, because basically there's a handful of guys that's going to still be consistently in the top 5, and everybody else is pretty much middle of the road for the most part. But they put up a significant amount of points. And in a 10 to 12 team league, if you only have one QB, most of those points are going to be on the bench or on the waiver wire. And most people in the one quarterback leagues, they don't even carry two quarterbacks at a certain point in time. Just based on the need for roster space and the fact that you got somebody on the bench that, unless your guy gets hurt, you're not going to play at all, more than likely. So I'm a big proponent of the super flex and being able to play two quarterbacks. That way everybody gets in. And I think it would eliminate the ability for somebody to pick up 5 quarterbacks in a matter of 2 days, right? Because if there was a super flex position, my man would have had another quarterback in, or those quarterbacks that were on the bench or that were on the free agent pool, somebody would already had them. Because they would need to play them, or they would have been, as their second quarterback or potential backup.
See, but if you go with the super flex, you have to adjust the scoring because quarterbacks. Yeah, I mean the quarterback statistics are so inflated.
Right. No, you do. You definitely have to adjust. Right. I agree.
Yeah, because then you'll have guys like Jose who's going their first 2 picks. They're going to draft, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or.
So I think that's what Jose was trying to do. And I don't know if you realize that we had took the score on the QBs, and they
took
still
it down
because you got to, otherwise they'll dominate dominate the scoring throughout the.
No, I had the right idea. It's just the players that I
the wrong quarterback.
The wrong quarterback.
Receptions. I do definitely. So it is the all offense lineup. I can go for another super flex instead of having two flex, have one flex and one super flex. But I do like the format of when I played in Tony's league, just straight offense. It kind of made it more balanced because sometimes man, I scored like 5 points, but if I picked up like Treadwell, who was scoring well, but nobody really was paying attention to him. It gave me more opportunity as a sleeper king to put more of my sleepers out there and get points from them. So I like that part of the whole format, and plus I just like offense.
I mean, but that league, I mean, it was 14 owners, so you got to be the sleeper king playing in the 14 owner league with so many offensive positions.
Listen, I led the whole league into the playoffs, and then all my guys was on COVID.
Oh yeah, you was number one, wasn't you?
I got kicked out the first round.
I just saw that on the ticket. They said the Eagles had sent 12 players to the COVID reserve list.
Yeah, that's a week too late.
I know, right?
So, do you guys play daily?
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely played that. I have not played. I wasn't active this year as in most years. But yeah, I definitely played in the daily.
Okay. Yeah, that's the same here. Every week, I have 3 like tournament lineups and like 1 like cash game. I really wouldn't consider the cash game. I play a lot of like small tournaments where it's like 6-man winner take all, 10-man winner take all. I play a lot of those those contests.
Okay.
I'm heavy into the daily. I mean, even like the showdown, DraftKings like showdown slates. Play that pretty much every single every game. Like I got lineups right now for this Pittsburgh game.
I think so. So I think that's the one thing I haven't gotten into is like for the single game plays, right?
Yeah.
Like for the ninth game, like I usually like to play like a full slate, the full Sunday, or if they have like that one weekend they had 2 games on Saturday, I'll play the games. For some reason, I've never had a whole lot of luck with the single game format. And that just maybe my a mental block or something the way I think about it, but I hadn't gotten to it.
Dude, that's the same way here. I mean, I played it pretty much every single game this year. I played. I mean, I don't put a lot of money in it because I'm not that great at it. I'm better at the like the full slate, but no luck with the single game. But now I think which is smart with these with the NFL and smart with like DraftKings or FanDuel. Dude, it's hard to watch a game without having something on the line.
Oh no, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I'm like there's been weekends like it was one week I got sick or whatever, right? Like I mean, like couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah.
Week 15, as a matter of fact, right? And I mustered up enough strength to put at least 5 lineups in, and so that I could, I didn't even watch the games. Like literally, I did not watch the game. I just checked my phone around 4 o'clock to see where I was in the contest to see if I was even in contention.
They have a gambling addiction phone number for that.
Shoot, hey, look, I ain't gonna lie. There's only certain games that I watch the whole game, but most of the time I like watching the red zone and just looking at what everybody's doing.
My thing. I watched red zone. I watched the NFL Network even got a joint that's nice. I forget what it's called, but it's similar to the red zone where they basically checking on teams that's in position to score, or maybe winding down the quarter or whatever. So.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much how I watch football for the most part.
Yeah, it messed me up. Like I can't watch a full game anymore like I used to, unless it's my team. Then I watch the whole game. But
not even,
I'm clicking to the other side quick, or I'm checking my phone.
Not even a Washington games. I haven't watched a full Washington game.
Yeah, but I mean,
like the last 3 years.
If they were playoff contention, if they were really doing something,
I still don't know if I watch.
I haven't watched. I didn't watch last year. I didn't watch the year before. It's been a good 3 years since I've seen the whole game.
Yeah, I watched a couple of good full games, but for the most part, my mind is I got like my phone looking at a different game.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
y'all mess me up because I can get the other games that's
you can watch the games on y'all. Yeah, I do the same thing. Well, man.
Look, so before we get off, man, what y'all think about that Tony Brown situation? I don't know if y'all covered that.
Let me
say this: as a receiver, is there anything to even talk about? Once again off the rails.
Dude, as talented as he is, I mean, the dude, I don't know what it is. Dude is just foolish.
Yeah, that was foolish. I mean, I think he has some mental situation, man. Something's wrong with him. He's off balance or something.
Did he offer any insight as to what made him?
He said
what got him upset.
He said his body was hurt. He was hurt. He was injured within himself. But coaches told him to go in the game. Told him to get in the game. He's like, no, I'm not going in the game.
I heard that, and then somebody else was talking about, they felt like he was people were trying to make excuses for him, saying that they think he was being benched so he wouldn't get his incentives. I was like, he killed them incentives when he got suspended 3 games for them daggone stupid fake COVID cards, vax cards.
Dude, and on top of that, the week before, I think Brady threw him 12 targets, 14 targets,
right? Yeah,
Yep.
So I don't think it's anything to do with them trying to lowball him from him getting his bonuses.
Not even that. He still got one more game. I mean, I looked at the numbers.
He could have had one more game. Yeah.
He only needed 50 yards. He only needed 50 yards.
One more game.
Yeah, right.
I'm not even buying the whole, I was injured, so I didn't want to go in the game because he looked perfectly fine, doing jacks.
I was gonna say, did you see him
skipping out there?
Right. Did you see how much energy and vigor he had leaving the stadium?
Yeah. So I don't know, man. He just
I thought he was about to take his pants off at one point. And I think he caught himself.
Surprised.
Hey, look, I think he's getting ready to do it. He's like, nah, they may really think I'm gone if I do this. They may put the cuffs on me if I take my pants off.
I don't know, man. This year's been really crazy. This year's been real crazy.
Yeah, but that was the icing on the cake.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he's done. I don't see no team.
Look, the thing is, you basically what's the name is hurt for the season, gone for the season, and Evans has been nursing injuries all year. You basically number one receiver at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Going into the playoffs. Like, man, this dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you playing with Tom Brady. I mean,
he basically single-handedly got you back in the league.
Basically.
But I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Making us look bad. That's for sure.
I know, right?
I told Billy. I said, imagine we was in a game and Coop decided he was just gonna leave. He was just gonna walk off the field.
We'd be like this. Hey, I'm here.
Right,
I'm
I know, right?
Put me in, coach.
Hey, Coop just walking off the field. We'd be looking around like,
you mean to tell me I get a pass?
Oh man, that's wild. That's probably how my man what's his name felt when he went out. What's the dude that came in for him? Ended up scoring a touchdown. Oh man,
Cyril, whatever his name is, Cyril.
That's probably how I was thinking. Oh man, sweet Grayson. Yeah, that's his name. Grayson. Like, oh man, sweet for real.
Hey, what you think about Justin Jefferson? You think he? I mean, we had somebody asked us how he was going to do. Like, I I didn't see his stats. Did he do well this game with?
You know what?
Marion?
Matter of fact, that's a good question. He's not even in the top. He wasn't in the top 10. Because remember we did the over under on him, right?
Yeah. No, remember somebody a guest asked us, "What you think? Like, do you think he was going to do good without Cousin?"
Right, and we said then we did the over under on. Let me see. He must not do much because he's not even in the top 30. I don't think. Let me see.
Man, Tony, you might get the points, man. He got 15. He got 8 catches. Oh no, hell no! I just seen the 15 targets.
So let me see. So Justin Jefferson had 6 receptions for 58 yards. He had 8.8, so he was under his predicted total. Jose.
Dang. Yeah,
man, it was bad because KJ Osborne had 3 for 50 in a touchdown. Nobody else had. Or Tyler Conklin had 47 yards receiving. But other than that, it was bad. But man, fellas, that's all I got, man. This is championship week. Best of luck. Hopefully, you get those 9 points.
5 points. That's all I need.
How many you need?
5.
How many? 5?
5. Yeah.
Oh man, these are joints you be sweating. Like, oh, come on, 5 points. Can't give me 2 catches in the first down.
I don't know. Listen, he did that on Darren Waller. He got 15 targets. What? he did 15 targets. He got 8 catches for 31 yards.
Wow.
Yeah.
You figure 8 catches? That's supposed to give you at least 10 points.
And that when Big Ben your quarterback.
Oh,
Big Ben can't throw over 8 yards.
and you better hope he hits you in them 8 yards because he may throw that wide right somewhere. He was struggling this year. Struggling. My son was watching. He's watching the Minnesota Green Bay game. And he was like, "How is it they are outside with no shirts on? And it's just cold outside." I said, "So you'll see once you get in college. They are impervious to cold weather." Man. Son. But all right, you got anything else, man?
Nah, man. Thanks, Tony, for coming on.
Yeah, sure thing.
Man, appreciate it. Always good to have a guest on, man. And at least this time it was somebody who was getting ready to win our championship, and we got showed up by AJ. I don't know, Jose told you by a 9-year-old over the weekend. Get ready. He came on Legos.
Oh, the guy that's about to win is 9.
9 years old.
Him and his mom run the team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't want to trade for Patrick Mahomes.
So
T. Higgins.
Told me Patrick Mahomes was slumming. He ain't want him. I said, all right, that's cool.
That's crazy.
Well, all right, fella. Hey, Tony, it was nice meeting you, man. I appreciate you getting on, bro.
Yeah, sure thing, man. Yeah, have a good night.
All right.
All right.